Welcome to the Real American Road Trips podcast series from iCast 24 in Orlando, Florida. On this episode, we sit down with Jared DaVincent. Y'all check it out. So one of the cool things about the Real American Road Trip is if you remember from season 1, Chef Dave, we spent some time down in St. Simons with him and in Montana. Well, this is how the world connects. So we're down here at iCast 24 in Orlando, and I've got one of his buddies, Jared, right here, DaVincent. I said it right?
Yes,
so Jared
sir.
DaVincent, who knows Chef Dave, and we've connected down here. So we're going to talk a little bit about how they know Chef Dave and just kind of share some stories. And if Chef Dave ever watches this, I might get some juice on him. So the next time I fish with him, I'll have some stuff in my back pocket. So how you doing, man?
We can take care of that for you.
We
I'm
can
doing
do
well.
that,
Thanks.
yeah,
Thanks
so
for having me.
Pretty
Appreciate
cool.
it.
Pretty cool meeting you down here. It's a small world.
It is. It's a small industry too, right? The fishing
is.
industry. It's amazing how many fishermen are out there.
Yeah.
But all these, you start conversations. You know this person who knows this
Right.
person who knows this person, and it comes together more often than not.
Well, that's how it started. We went out to Montana with John McCune just to do a little trout fishing when we met Chef Dave there.
Yeah.
And he's like, "You guys got to come down to St. Simons." Of course, we go down there and get a couple episodes, which led to the Port St. Joe guys and all. So it's been really cool. But how do you know Chef Dave? In your real life.
Well, through our passion of fishing is how we met. But we're both entrepreneurs in the Golden Isles of Georgia.
Right.
Basically, it's a barrier island chain of 4 barrier islands and the mainland of Brunswick. And
Okay.
we're exactly halfway between Savannah and Jacksonville.
Yeah.
About 45 minutes south of Savannah and 45 minutes north of Jacksonville. So it's this beautiful piece of coast, which you experienced firsthand.
It was
Spartina
amazing.
grass, marshes.
I loved it.
And we're pursuing redfish, speckled trout. And that's what Chef Dave and I do when we're not working.
Yeah.
Yep.
So your hat says On the Fly
Yes, sir.
Outfitters. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, it's a fly shop we opened about 7 years ago in the small historic port city of Brunswick.
That's what you would like. He's a fly guy.
I'm a fly guy for sure.
He's a fly
Absolutely.
guy.
I got trout on
Listen,
that.
listen,
Yeah.
I have a fly rod. He fly fishes. There's a difference.
There's a difference.
There's a difference. So I guess saltwater. I mean, those kind of things.
Predominantly saltwater.
Yeah.
We're doing about 80% saltwater, maybe 20% freshwater. We still have some big bass guys in Georgia, as you know.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
And we're right smack dab between the Satilla River and the Altamaha. So there's a lot of freshwater opportunities as well. But predominantly, we're fishing those barrier islands, those marsh grasses. And, right now, we have flood tide season. So it's the time of year in spring. Basically, the tide rises higher than the rest of the year.
Yeah.
So during that full moon cycle, we're wet wading and we're sight casting these redfish. As they come up onto the flats, they're waving their tails at us, eating those feather crabs. And it's just such a cool experience pursuing them and sight casting to your prey, right? Stalking them.
So what kind of fly are you casting to, man? What kind of equipment are you using? Because I've got a 6-weight Orbis. I know this is going to be a totally different set of rod and stuff. So, tell me about your setup and what you're throwing at them.
Of course, yeah. You could do some of this fishing with a 6-weight.
You think so?
I think you could.
It'd be sporty. That's what the guys in Michigan said.
It'll be sporty.
Sporty.
It'll be sporty.
Right.
And when you get that big dog at the end, too,
Yeah.
it'll be tough for
What
you. But
would you recommend? Yeah.
we're doing predominantly 8 weights. Is
Okay.
probably the most popular size rod that we're selling at the shop.
Yeah.
A lot of guys are leaning more towards that 7-weight now. As the technology gets better, you can go down into that 7-weight. Those rods are really strong.
Yeah.
They'll still perform well. And what's nice is if you go down from an 8-weight to a 7-weight, you get more of a finesse. You can lay that fly down softer.
Right.
So you can adjust accordingly.
Okay.
And then right now, tarpon are migrating up our coast. And that's
That's a
a whole other
list,
game.
man.
So we're looking at 11-weight rods for that.
Yes.
10 and 11-weight.
And
I tried to throw that.
I imagine the big difference is everything's sealed. So where what you're fishing with in North Georgia, or I'm fishing with as well, it doesn't necessarily need to be sealed from all that salt and corrosion that'll really just lock a reel up that we would use instantly. So you would have to change completely.
Yeah, just kind of like our regular
guts
caster
of it.
reels and all that would do. So
Yeah.
the difference between a redfish, for somebody who doesn't know, I've caught a few redfish. I caught some with Captain Dave, but we caught pups. I ain't hooked into a big one yet.
Right.
For somebody that doesn't know like me, give me a bull red and a big tarpon, and kind of tell me the differences.
Oh man, the difference is, it bull red, we're doing that in the fall season,
Yeah.
out towards deeper water inlets. And,
Okay.
And so your fight, if you're fishing deeper water and that fish goes down, that's a harder fight.
Oh, for sure.
As
Yeah.
soon as they nose down to the bottom,
Yeah.
Shallow water pursuits, that's where I'm most passionate.
I got you. Yeah.
And those slightly larger than pups,
Yeah.
a little bit smaller than the bull reds.
Okay.
We're pursuing them year round.
So we're talking fish that are in like the 20-inch to 30-inch range, or
Yes.
20. So
Yeah,
maybe a little bit smaller.
18 to 24
18 to
inches
24, okay,
is probably the most popular average.
okay,
But it just depends on time of year.
plenty of fighting those things though.
Plenty of fighting those things.
Yeah, but you got to realize I turn on my TV or something and I see the guy with the big tarpon on a fly rod and I'm like,
Man.
that's a whole different ball game.
It is. That's where Chef Dave and I really got to know each other.
Yeah.
Our, I would say, beyond passion, obsession
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an obsession.
is
100%.
tarpon for us, for sure. Like, we've been known to go from coastal Georgia, where we are, leave work at 8 p.m., drive through the night to the Keys, show up in the morning just in time for the light to come up and launch the boat, fish 12-hour day, crash that night, fish another 12-hour day, and then drive through the night again to be back at work on Monday.
Nothing wrong
That's
with
how
that.
crazy we are with tarpon. I
Yeah.
mean, when that migration season starts, we're down there pretty much, definitely every year, a couple of weeks in May and beginning
That's
of June,
awesome.
just to pursue them.
I would love that. Now, here's what you got to do. Because when I hung out with Chef Dave, all he talked about was tarpon, how he was going to put me on
Figured you
tarpon.
would.
Listen, and we have not made that connection again. So what I need you to do when we get done here at iCast and all that, you need to call him up,
I'm with
tell
you.
him that, you met his really cool friend, like that. And you need to set us up on that tarpon trip.
We need
Let
to
us
do
go down there, go down to the Keys, whenever, but we need to get him set in stone because he's so busy.
He is.
What'd you say he was at today?
He's in Scotland right now. He's cooking for the U.S. Open golf tournament.
See, that's so what's cool is like I had a
awesome.
guy that cooks for all of these ultra important people. Cook some shrimp and grits for me and like that. But Dave he's that guy though. He is that. You got to meet him.
I can't wait.
No, you got to meet him.
trying.
It's like, and you know what I'm saying. But he is obsessed with his fishing and all that.
He
and
is.
So if you two share that, that's gonna be a lot of fun. But we need to set that up.
We'd love to have you out there. I mean,
Well, I would love to be there,
we'll show you the obsession up close and personal.
just so he can make fun of how I
even if-
cast too. Yeah, he will. You probably will
Well,
too.
it goes both ways, right? We got to rag on each other every now and
Yeah,
then.
but I mean, I give you more opportunities than you're going to get me for sure. But I'd love to do that because that's,
We'd
again,
love to have you.
the cool thing with the show is a lot of new species, new places, new ways to fish. But that fly rod and saltwater is something I haven't done yet.
And I tell you what, it's different depending on where you go. That's what's great about it. Down in the Keys, you have clear water.
Yeah.
We can see them visually. We're sight casting to tarpon down there. Up by us in Georgia, we have an 8 to 10 foot tide swing, if you remember.
Yeah, I do.
And
yeah.
with that tide swing comes a lot of churning of sand and sediment. So our visibility through the water to pursue tarpon isn't as great.
Yeah.
We have to wait for them to roll. We have to wait for some surface.
They got to show
disturbance
themselves and everything.
to show themselves, and then that glimpse you get, now you have to predict how fast they're moving, how to lead them, how far to lead them.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
a little bit different of a game in
Yeah.
Georgia.
I'm
I'd
sure.
love for you to experience both.
I would love to experience both.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I
love to
met you
have
down here. So now you can, you can put the pressure on Chef Dave. And if he don't want to play, you and I go.
Sounds like a plan.
Sounds good, man. I appreciate you joining us.
Thanks for having
Awesome.
me.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it.
Nice meeting you, man.
Look forward to having you back in Golden Isles of Georgia.
We're going to do it. We're going to
All
do
right.
it. See ya.
Thanks, guys.